Well, if you've been alive for the past couple months, you've definitely heard of Elden Ring. It has taken the world by storm with over 12 million copies sold since its release and surely has lived up to the years of hype generated by this game. From Software took everything they learned from the development of previous games in the Soulbourne series and integrated it into an open world environment that is an absolute joy to explore, leading to the inevitable of introductory noob wankers picking up the game for the first time and not being familiar with From Software's unforgiving mechanics. It can be a little challenging. So, here are some common mistakes that most people make while playing through this masterpiece. I'm Mike from Collection of Madness, and these are the top 10 Elden Ring noob mistakes. Don't want to be a noob to this channel? Well, no worries. Just hit that subscribe, notification, and like button, and you'll unlock the ultimate level of something, I guess. Number 10. Too many points in faith early on. So your two most important sources to magic are your faith and intelligence. They dictate the various abilities players can use in battle and seem like a no-brainer to invest in right away. However, while it may seem fairly simple to choose between one or the other, beginners will find it extremely challenging to find any proper indications in the game early on. Sorceries are more abundant here, and players who want to make a game easier for themselves going through this entire series should try investing in their health and then intelligence, saving faith to help you when you're facing off against a more imposing boss. Number 9. Getting frustrated after death. Look, any person that has ever played video games in the entirety of video game history has gotten frustrated and shut off their console, rather intentionally or not. Yikes. All because our characters kept dying. I get it, but the biggest mistake a player can make in Elden Ring is getting angry or frustrated after a death. Elden Ring has incredibly tight mechanics and gives the player several options to deal with at any given situation. I'm sorry to say this, but it's tough love. If a player dies, then it's almost always their fault, and means they just need to utilize a different strategy moving forward or explore another portion of the map. Death is a learning experience in this game, not an excuse to quit playing this fantastic series. Number 8. Spamming the dodge button non-stop. Stop. Stop this right now. Yes, you. I can see you doing this. Stop it. Thoughtless dodging in random directions is pretty much asking for death. Instead, players should understand the moveset of the enemy first before realizing the best course of action to take is dodging. Dodging in a specific action, blocking, or parrying on a viable given situation is okay, but just make sure you're not overutilizing this dodge, okay? Now stop it. Number 7. Rainbow stones are death deflectors. Okay, so they're not actually deflecting death from you, but it's pretty close. If you played one of these installments before, most likely you've accidentally fallen to your death on more than one occasion. That's where rainbow stones come in. Rainbow stones, or prism stones in previous games, are a consumable item that you throw in front of you, shining a small light. But, most importantly, it shatters if it falls down a height that will kill you and stays intact if you can safely make the jump. In Elden Ring, I cannot stress this enough how important it is that there is a lot of exploration to do. So, with this open world nature of the game, it's very, very important to carry rainbow stones with you with its uneasy geography. Number 6. Make use of jump attacks for more damage. Now, normally attacks are dealt in a standing position, however, leaping up into the air before sticking the pointy end into some monster doesn't just make you feel like a badass, it's a legitimate strategy. See, jumping attacks deal more damage than attacks from a traditional standing position. It's also effective at interrupting whatever your opponent is about to do, meaning you often get the chance to sneak in with a follow-up attack instead of preparing for a dodge. Number 5. Annotate your map every opportunity you get. While traveling this open world, you have a lot of freedom to mark up your own observations, even though the game auto-annotates certain areas for you. Consider putting a skull at a location where you encountered a boss that you weren't quite ready for yet, so you can avoid that spot for a while. It's also useful to mark up locations of friendly NPCs and resource spawn locations you want to be able to return to very easily at any time in this game. Ultimately, it's a good strategy to mark out your safe spot in a situation of needing a recharge. Number 4. Hoarding runes for no reason whatsoever. You know it's all about the rune, baby. If you don't watch wrestling, you won't get that, and I'm I'm sorry. So, if you played previous From Software games, you know that players who die lose all their runes and have one shot to get the runes back, which are forever lost if players die again. WT Fiddlesticks? This means that players should, under no circumstances, hoard these runes in the game. Death can come at any moment's notice, and players who aren't ready to deal with certain enemies will find themselves ruining the decisions to stock up these precious runes without having that golden cash out. Speaking of, number 3, hoard your golden runes until the last possible moment. While it's not so effective as a farming technique since you can't control the supply, keeping an eye out for golden runes is another great way to add to your overall stash. See, unlike regular runes that can disappear faster than Chris Angel's hair, golden runes can be picked up from the environment, especially from skulls with glowing eyes and stone coffins that are littered around the lands between, and sometimes looting a corpse will yield some too. Open the item up in your inventory to convert them into regular runes, which is the currency. Neat. Number 2, getting greedy with landing hits. With some of the cool moves you can do in this game, look, I get it, but this is a classic mistake that most beginners are bound to make. Landing a hit and watching an enemy's HP go down is one of the most addictive parts of the game and something that wills people to play this game despite being beaten to an absolute pulp at times. That being said, players should always try and measure their hits instead of spamming attacks. Doing so ensures that they aren't locking into an animation right when the enemy is about to dish out some serious pain. This is good moving forward so you know when to properly dodge. And number 1, make liberal use of Sights of Grace, but plan ahead. Sights of Grace are Elden Ring's answer to the bonfires from Dark Souls. The last Sight of Grace you interacted with will be your respawn point if you die or exit the game, so it's pretty useful to give a nudge whenever you see it, unless you're not really sure if you want to respawn at that current location, but roll the dice. Resting at the Sight of Grace is one of the best things you can do for your character's well-being. Just sitting down by one for a few seconds refills your health and focus, and it replenishes your flasks. It's also a calm spot to do a bit of inventory management via the sort of chest options. There is one major downside though. Resting respawns all enemies, from minions to bosses, so be mindful if you're planning to, say, backtrack through a boss area that you had some trouble beating right after healing up from the Sight of Grace. However, they're more helpful than hurtful. And that's our list. Leave a comment down below if you have any helpful tips for the game, and always make sure to check out our other great content here and here. Have a blessed day.